We continue our work, and I invite to the microphone official spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense, Colonel Oleksandr Motuzyanyk. Good afternoon, dear friends. Please listen to the latest information about major events in the ATO area. So, around Lugansk, almost 40 minutes, the occupants shelled our positions not far from Stanitsa Lugansk. They did not use any heavy weaponry, but they used snipers' fire. Along other front lines, the militants carried out short provocations not longer than 15 minutes each using small arms. All those provocations were carried out at dark time of the day, and the biggest number of shellings were near Novozvanyavka. Total around Lugansk yesterday there were 12 enemy shellings. Around Donetsk, up to 11 a.m., the situation remained quiet, but later mortar shelling of Pisky was registered. It lasted for 1 hour. Also, they shelled in Luhansk, Zaitsev, and Novhorodsk. The heavy weaponry was not used. The bigger number of shellings was in Zaitsev. In Avdiivka, the snipers used. In general, around Lugansk, around Donetsk, there were 8 shellings, and out of them 1 from heavy weaponry. Near Mariupol, along the entire contact line, this enemy snipers worked very actively, specifically in Krasnogorievka, Mariinka, Novotroitsk, and Shirokino. During the last day in Mariupol, around Mariupol, there were 23 shellings, and 1 of them from heavy weaponry. During the last 24 hours, there were no killed Ukrainian soldiers, but 4 servicemen were wounded. The confirmed losses of the enemies, 14 occupants were killed and 23 remained wounds. Ukrainian intelligence reports that in order to imitate compliance with Minsk agreements and continue the policy of disguising the Russian presence in Donbass, some detachments of so-called 1st and 2nd Army Corps were changed their names. Instead of the 2nd Separate Motorized Brigade, now we have the 2nd Separate People's Militia of LPR detachment. Then instead of the 4 separate motorized brigade, we now have 4 separate unit of the People's Militia. Instead of the 7 separate motorized brigade, the 7 separate unit of the People's Militia. Instead of the 6 separate motorized regiment, the 6 separate regiment of People's Militia named Platov. Instead of the separate tank battalion August, we have the operational mechanized group Armor. Instead of the drones unit, so-called operational group Falcon. 1 more women made use of the SBU program You Are Waited at Home. In 2014, because of financial problems and lack of employment, she joined the Russian occupational troops. He cooked and served in Slavyansk, then and for this she got food and clothes. After separation of Slavyansk, she departed to Donetsk, but later, having understood that this was a criminal offense, she used the SBU program. Now about military exercises in the north region of the Ukrainian armed forces. The local troops had delivered special training for the territorial defense troops. Under field conditions, the exercise participants patrolled on checkpoints, had training on fire, and delivered the first medical aid. During the next several days, servicemen from the 9th Regiment of the National Guards deployed in Zaporizhia will give their blood for the ATO servicemen. Also in Dnipro yesterday, the special monument to mark the anniversary of the union of Ukraine and the Western Ukraine was opened. It was opened on the date when 14 servicemen from the siege marksman regiment were killed in a combat in 1918. Since there are no questions, thank you for your attention. Dear colleagues, next event will be at 4 o'clock sharp. Thank you.